gosh, it might have been 2 months ago I taught on defense. I brought a message, I think I called it a biblical defense of self-defense.
Yep.
Right. And I'll say this. Some years ago I talked to a friend, and he's part of, well, he was a Marine. He was part of the battle for Fallujah. Remember that one? Okay. I got to know him very well. He made it out of there alive. Helped him tie the knot with his wife. This was back out in Hawaii. And he was sharing with me one time about what he saw and what he had to do to defend himself, the men in the battalion with him, and even to the place of taking a life. You know, he didn't even say how many lives he had to dispatch from Earth, you know, who were the enemies. But I asked him about it, and he said something interesting. He said, you have to be spiritually resolved to take another life. Spiritually resolved. And he said he spent a lot of time in prayer to become resolved before even heading out to that assignment out in the desert. And he sensed that God helped him as a Christian be able to justify defending his own life, the lives of the men around him, and to take a life. Now hopefully none of us will ever have to take a life. Most people will never have to defend themselves. I mean, how many of you have gotten in a fist fight? Okay, well, that didn't work. This is a violent church. Birds of a feather fly together. How many of you are carrying tonight? Packing. See? I tell you. Very special. And I know there's a number of you, you're not going to answer that. That's good, don't you? You don't need that. So here we go. It's important that you have a mindset going into this, even what we're going to talk about tonight. And Nick Schouler is going to be presenting tonight. Woo! And too much pressure. And there's something about having an understanding of what's in the Word of God, and as this friend of mine said, by the way, should I tell you this? I'll throw this real quick. So he's now a federal agent, not FBI. Don't trust him anymore. This guy I trust. And back in 2013, when I first served in the House of Representatives here, there was a burden I had to bring a bill that would allow for the arming of school staff, teachers, administrators, or whoever they wanted to arm, so that there would be an armed presence on the campus. Now, of course, a lot of people thought that was nuts, and we argued that thing through against the South Dakota Teachers Association, South Dakota School Board Association, and all the naysayers, and won. We got that thing through. It was great. But who really helped me with that is this guy I'm talking about. His name is Lance Tibbetts, by the way. And so we talked, and he helped me really put together that bill. So he and I primarily drafted this, and he's in Oklahoma. But he understands what we have to understand, which is in the Scriptures, God gave us the right to defend ourselves, and He has created all things with a self-defense mechanism, right? If it's quills, thorns, camouflage, scales, teeth, fangs, whatever, claws, venom, thorns on the rose. What's ours? Bullets. Exactly. Okay? We've been the creative ones, They say the bow and arrow was the first, but either way, we've come up with every kind of thing to defend ourselves with. But before you can defend yourself, you've got to be resolved to do that. I remember now, Nick and Lindsay, by the way, they're black belts as well. Okay, so there are second-degree black belts in martial arts, a very effective one I'm familiar with, called Kung Fu Sansu. It's very good. I'm a martial art guy. It's a lifelong sport. And there's a process you go through as you're learning that you've got to be spiritually resolved to defend yourself. Otherwise, you could spend a whole lot of years learning a whole bunch of stuff, but when the time comes, you're afraid to use it because you don't want to hurt somebody.
That's me.
That's you, right? Okay. Most of us, again, we're lambs, we're sheep. We don't want to cause harm. We want to be at peace with everybody. And strangely enough, even if somebody's coming after you or somebody else that you love, a lot of Christians, a lot of people will not respond. They won't do anything to defend themselves or somebody else. They just won't do it. Why in the world won't they do that? Because there's this strange thought of, I don't want to hurt somebody. Well, they're hurting this person.
Right.
So, and if they can't defend themselves, who's going to do it? And if you don't stop that person, they'll go on to hurt somebody else and hurt somebody else. And somebody, you got to say, as the saying goes, you got to teach them a lesson. So if you actually are good with hands and feet, and that actually takes years to be proficient in, to truly be able to use, there's a couple, techniques we could teach somebody that you can use pretty much off the bat. If in the moment you need to use it, you're not scared to death, right? So part of the mental training is being able to control emotional instability that comes when you're scared. And you actually have to look at that person as a threat and then stop that threat. Okay, so there's some things that Nick's going to cover tonight. Perhaps spend a significant amount of the time talking about how to harden or harden your house, defend your dwelling, which is kind of nice so that you don't have to worry about a one-on-one confrontation. But you never know. So I know he's prepared for it. I'm excited for what we're all going to hear tonight. But let's pray, and even as we do, prepare yourself spiritually resolved, believing in God, who gave you the right to defend yourself, that what you're about to hear, you're going into this saying, I will use this. See what I mean? That's the first thing you got to do. You got to get over your fear of confronting a foe. Father God, we thank you for the life that you have given us, and it's a life that you would have us guard. You even said, no greater love as a man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. And that we would be resolved, starting tonight, if we aren't already, to take up the right you have given us, first in the Scriptures, and then as American citizens in the Bill of Rights, to be able to defend our lives, our loved ones, our friends, even strangers, from a threat, from evil. We thank you, God, for our servicemen and women, those who are here, active and veterans, who underwent all that training, mental training, physical toughness, to be able to stand between a threat and the innocent. Would you help us even tonight to learn to be bold like lions? Help us understand what we're hearing. Thank you for Nick, for the time that he spent preparing for us tonight. And then help us be good to apply what we hear immediately. We thank you for the family of faith that you have given us here at Landmark.
Yes.
And we even ask tonight you would keep this body safe.
Yes, Lord.
Father, I thank you for those who are even here tonight, who are part of our safety team, who are resolved to protect this family. They sit among us. They sit by the exits and the entrances. And we thank you, God, for giving us the word that clearly reinforces the right we have to defend. And it's in the name of Jesus, who defended us like no one else. Defended us from the most evil, horrific, indescribable enemy who ever exists, who still inspires today, tyrants, killers, murderers, the devil himself. And Lord Jesus, we recognize you laid down your life so that we might keep ours for eternity. And it's in your name we pray. Amen? Amen. Amen.
Wow. More of you than I thought. For the gentleman that presented, and I don't see the lady that presented, but the gentleman that presented, would you all stand, please? That have already presented for the modules.
In any module. In any module.
These guys are not So I had lots of extra time to prepare. They had to go first, and so I've had a whole bunch more content because I've had so much free time on my hands to prepare. If you're a heckler, please come up to the front row. I want you in the front seats. Now, with that said, hopefully you guys did not make any extra plans this evening because I have 216 strategies to help you protect your house. So if you brought a blanket, that's great. In anticipation of not running out of water, so I'm going to set that there. Now, if you're here tonight, which hopefully you guys realize you're here tonight, I put about 36 extra strategies on this spreadsheet, the master spreadsheet that I originally made. And it's for people who want to teach themselves how to fish. So count yourselves among that this evening. And if you would like those extra strategies, come up at the end of the evening and scan my computer screen. I've got a QR code for you. It'll take you to the spreadsheet. You have to get permission on the spreadsheet to have those extra strategies, but a lot of them are some of the best content. I wasn't holding back. I just found a whole bunch of extra stuff. So any questions before I begin? So just to let y'all know, I'm going to share some just brief statistics. Does anybody know how often burglaries happen in the United States? Every night. That's a good answer. I love it. I'm not going to bore you with statistics because nobody remembers them, but just remember this. A burglary happens every 30 seconds. There's going to be a lot of burglaries happening during my presentation this evening, and hopefully it's none of our homes here. But does anybody know what time of the day the burglaries happen? Day. That's right. Between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And it's not even close. 290, almost 300,000 burglaries happen during the daytime. And so almost 300,000 and almost 200,000 happen at nighttime. So if you think it's going to happen while you sleep, it's 1/3 less likely. And people are home 28% of the time. Violent crimes happen every 22.4 seconds in the United States. This is part of our defensive seminar that we do. And an average altercation lasts about 2.5 seconds. Average police response times tend to trend over 10 minutes. So with that said, the cavalry is not coming, right? So it's up to you all to protect yourselves and protect your homes. Since you spend at least about 1/3 of your life in your house, it's really important that you take your home security very seriously. Make sure I didn't. And I ask you a question, and just if you want to know, as far as if your house is on fire, it's 9 minutes and 20 seconds is the average response time. Okay, so your house will be sitting in cinders before the fire department gets there. But I ask you a question, the bad guys have a plan, what's yours? Okay, so that's why I want you to be thinking about this evening, because they have a plan to hurt you, to steal from you, whatever, but make sure that you have a plan to combat that. Now, so that I don't lull you all to sleep, I'm going to start going with some of the best strategies first, and depending on how much time we have left, we'll go through some of the other strategies on the sheet. They're all good, But I think some of these are going to raise some eyebrows this evening. It's going to make you look at your home differently, okay? And the way I've organized this spreadsheet, and it won't fit on the screens, and I didn't want you all to be focused on the screens and not hear everything we have to cover this evening, but the way I've set up this spreadsheet is I have strategies for outside your home, strategies for inside your home, strategies outside for burglary and theft, strategies for fire, strategies for pests, and I have the same types of strategies for inside the home as well. So they're broken down by categories, okay? So if you want to know how to keep spiders out of your house, get a cat, okay?
All right.
Cats love spiders. They love to get after them, okay? So go to the Humane Society, empty the shelters, all right? Please spay or neuter your pets. That's about Mom Margaret's now.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to start off with the things that I think that most people are here for this evening is how to prevent intruders, burglars, and people that will cause you harm. And I'm going to start off the presentation by talking about Colonel Cooper's color codes of awareness, okay? So Scott kind of alluded to this. Does anybody know Colonel Cooper's color codes of awareness by show of hands? Just a few. So I'm going to explain them to you in brief detail. Colonel Jeff Cooper was an amazing tactician in the military, okay? And he wanted his soldiers to be at a constant state of readiness. And so what he did is he came up with a color code system to make it easy for the soldiers to be able to stay at a heightened sense of awareness so that they could be ready for battle, okay? And so I'm going to tell you the colors and then we'll go through what they mean. Why this is important, because earlier on in the presentation I said the average altercation lasts 2.5 seconds, okay? If you are not ready to defend yourself, you will be beaten up or killed or worse, okay? Or worse. Worse than killed. So. 5 colors: white, yellow, orange, red, and black, all right? White is completely oblivious to the situation. This is the person that you see in the grocery store parking lot that's walking to their car like this. When you see that, there's a thief somewhere going like this. Okay? So white is just general obliviousness to what's going on around you. And with the advent of technology and the advent of distraction, this is a real problem for our population. And the more that these things do, the more that we become distracted. Okay? Other than at home and that you have a monstrous German Shepherd or Cane Corso Mastiff or something sitting right next to you, you should never be in the white zone. Okay? So I want you to think about that for a second. The next time that you go to the grocery store, watch for these people. You'll get a chuckle out of it. Don't find yourself being these people. When Lindsay and I teach our seminar, we invariably have someone email us afterwards or text us afterwards and they say, I found myself in the white zone today. And they go, I got to get back to yellow because they're thinking about it now. That's what we want, is people to be thinking about this at all times. The yellow zone is really the best place to be at all times, okay? So the people in this room this evening, by and large, you're in the yellow zone. You're thinking about these things now. You probably look, as you're walking to your car, oftentimes. Our security team in here is constantly in the yellow zone during services, before and after. And what it means is that you're not freaked out. You're not, oh gosh, somebody's going to get me. Okay, that's a different color. Okay, yellow is just calm, constantly looking around, looking for breaks in the pattern, as I like to say. So breaks in the pattern are, oh, that's strange. Why is that person over by my car? Okay, that's a bad pattern. All right. So that's yellow, and that's where you're going to spend most of your time throughout your day. Even when you're at home, we recommend you stay in yellow as much as you can. All right. Now, orange is a heightened state of awareness. You've identified a threat. Okay. So I'm walking to the car, I see someone over at the car, and I'm getting closer, and they're doing something to the car. Okay, there's a problem. Okay, what are they doing? They're trying to get in, they're trying to slash tires, they're going to try and jump me, whatever. Okay? So I'm getting ready to make a plan. Orange is a heightened state of awareness, and you're deciding whether you need to act. You're not in the action stage yet. Okay? Or is it just not a big deal? The person dropped their wallet next to the car or something like that, then you return back to yellow. Okay? Red is, it's on. There's a problem. Okay, you're going to have to fight your way out of it, or you're going to have to run. All right? And then black is that you've been overwhelmed. Someone has jumped on top of you. You were not ready for that. Okay? And now they're taking advantage. They're beating you up. They're knocking you out, whatever. And how many seconds does it take to get from white to black?
From white to black, it's about 6 seconds.
6 seconds. Okay. So if the average altercation takes 2.5 seconds, and you're in the white zone, and it takes you 6 seconds you don't have enough time. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Okay? So that's why you have to be in yellow at all times, is because if you're not in yellow, you're not ready to react and somebody gets to jump on you, and that's where the problems begin. Okay? Questions so far about Colonel Cooper? So I'm going to go down the list and we're going to talk about dogs first. Okay? Almost brought our dogs this evening. Almost. Just didn't think they'd be here. But here's the thing. If you don't have a dog, you may seriously consider one. Certain breeds of dogs seem to have a very good discernment about them, about who's a good person and who's not. Okay? I had German Shepherds when Lindsay and I got married, and see, something about German Shepherds, it's like they like imprint on your heart. They're great dogs for the most part. Okay? But what's interesting about certain breeds of dogs is that they seem to have a discernment, very much like our Christian gifts of discernment. And what they can do oftentimes is determine a threat before the threat even manifests, okay? I remember a situation, I was in physical therapy school, and we had a class softball game, and my German Shepherd would go everywhere with me. And a guy jokingly jumped on my back. My dog went ballistic, okay? I'd never seen this side of him before. He reaches up and grabs this guy. I was like, whoa, keeper, chill, okay? He's in class with me and stuff like that. But the dog literally was like, don't touch him. And I didn't even know what was going to happen. I'm going to tell you a little secret about dogs. If you don't know this, lady dogs generally protect people. Male dogs protect property. Okay? So I don't know if you knew that, but generally if you look amongst the sexes of dogs, and they don't have 99 genders, okay? And dogs seem to be able to manage that very well, but lady dogs look after their family, generally their people, okay? And male dogs, they look after property. I'm going to just share some breeds with you besides German Shepherds, which are one of the most inbred dogs in the entire selection of breeds, unfortunately. There's other dogs that now are probably as good or better choice. Dutch Shepherds, Belgian Shepherds of multiple different types. Great Pyrenees actually are great protecting.
No eggs!
We have some Great Pyrenees fans in the cheap seats back there. Pulleys, which look like they look like a mop, and Commandors are the bigger size of those. These dogs are really interesting. They're for guarding sheep, and they look like sheep, a lot like sheep. And if a wolf comes in, they go ballistic and they break away from the herd and start beating the wolf up. Okay, but they also work great for house protection as well. The pulleys are the smaller ones, and I think those are black, and Commandors are the taller ones. And they're really fascinating dogs, but they require a lot of coat care. I'm not going to give you all an AKC lesson this evening, but those are some breeds that are pretty good. If you would like I said, there's going to be a QR code at the end. If you want to come up afterwards with your phone, you can scan the QR code and see all the other breeds and stuff like that. But we're going to go down the list here. And the reason why I'm looking at this is because we had so many people in our group presenting, I wasn't sure how much time we would have this evening. Unfortunately, Doug couldn't make it this evening, so we kind of talked about like the mindset with the Colonel Cooper's color codes of awareness. But with that said, I've got a little extra time, so I'm going to kind of be picking and choosing some good strategies. Here's a good strategy. Can anybody tell me why not to put pictures of your vehicles, of your house, of things that you just bought on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok?
Give yourself a target.
Well, yeah, cover the license plate, but and you're absolutely right, sir. What's your name?
Dale.
Dale, thank you. Because you're right, cover the license plate, but even better, don't put the pictures on, okay? Because of the fact that with geotags, which are little encrypted bits inside of pictures and stuff, and you can right click, and if you know what you're doing, you can click inspect element, you can go deep into the metadata on that picture, and you can find out where that picture was taken, okay? I'm going to blow your guys' minds tonight with what crooks really do, okay? I'm not a crook. I'm not a recovering crook. But I did grow up in the city of St. Louis, and I've seen some pretty ugly things. I used to work in the worst parts of St. Louis with my dad. I did that for 4 years. I remember going in a house, and it was so bad in there, we had to fix this furnace. We pulled the furnace cover off, and thousands of roaches fell out of it, okay? I remember hearing about people in my class being murdered or going to jail and stuff like that. So I'm not a crook, but I know what crooks think like because I've seen them up close and personal, okay? Don't have garage sales. Who in here's had garage sale? Guilty. Okay. I love garage sales. Go to someone else's garage sale. Go buy some things. Don't sell them. No. Go to, ask, where's Don Fowler? Where are you? If you have clutter in your home, talk to Don Fowler, okay?
Yep.
That'll be one of our strategies we'll talk about later. But here's the thing. Does anybody know why garage sales are so bad?
Great time to case their house.
Say it louder.
It's a great time to case their house. What do they got and what do they have better than this?
Thieves will go to garage sales and just act like they're, looking through things, and they get 15 minutes, 30 minutes to case the joint. Unhindered to be on your property. They were there legally. What a great way to see what you have in your garage with the door open.
I had my garage sale outside.
Yeah, so great point for the front row. What about funerals? Yeah, funerals can be a problem too, is because people are in a grieving state. They might be away for a period of time. That's a great time. Like if somebody's selling some stuff and they're like, oh, so-and-so passed away, the funerals happen, they're out, mourning the loss, then that's a great time because they've already seen what has been sold and what is in the garage as well. So
Or at the funeral.
at the funeral too.
Even obituaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that either.
I love this participation from the audience.
Even if you don't say you're going on a vacation, don't advertise it on Facebook.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that, yeah.
Garage sales was one, you're stupid enough to have one. Don't be stupid enough to let somebody use your restroom.
Yeah.
And clean it out while you're out there.
What is your name?
Huh?
What is your name?
You didn't check.
Ms. Shepherd? Is that what you said? Elaine Shepherd? So Elaine Shepherd said, don't let people use your bathroom, okay? They can pee on you, okay? All right. Here's the other thing is don't let people use your phone, okay? Whether it's your cell phone or there are some people I imagine here that have home phones still, okay? All 6 of you, all right? But here's the thing. If they get in your house, they could hurt you. If they're in your house and they don't hurt you, they could be casing the joint. If they get to use your cell phone, if they're smart with tech, they can do all kinds of stuff in your phone, like understand like bank data and understand email passwords and stuff. And these are, I'm not trying to scare you all, but there are people out there that do this kind of stuff. So Elaine, that was a great point about don't let them in and use the bathroom. You get, on some insurances, you get a discount if you plant briar bushes around your windows. I don't know if you all know that or not. There's a lot of beautiful briars. You can get berries if you want food, since we're talking about sustainability. If you want just plain beauty, you can plant flowers that have thorns on them like roses, okay? What's that? I like the enthusiasm this evening. This is a lot to live up to. All right. Here's another one that now with some of these, I've researched these on multiple sites and stuff, and also talked with other people that kind of deal in this space. This one's hit or miss, so I want to just share it with you all because I think it's a novel concept, especially if you're a lady living by yourself. Is put muddy work boots on your porch.
Yeah.
Now that may seem laughable, but here's the thing: what if it tricks a dumpster? Okay. There's no hurt in doing it. Go to Goodwill, rub the boots in the ground if you're living by yourself, and then put them right on the porch and leave them there. Who cares if it doesn't work? What if it does?
Size 13.
Yeah, I size 13 or larger. I've got some old shoes. They're size 14s. If you guys need some, just let me know. I saw a hand go up. Where's the hand?
Me. I use size pair of boots.
You decide you just
I
14.
carry a 14. Of course.
So here's another one. This is one of my favorites. I think this is amazing to me. And that is, everybody know the cord on your garage door? Yeah. Okay. You know how easy it is to break in a garage with that cord? If you don't, you will be shocked. Okay, you can go on YouTube and watch this. You can literally take a coat hook, make a loop, stick it up in there, and you could be in there in less than 10 seconds. Okay? So I highly recommend that if you have that cord, is to either bundle it up. They also, you take a piece of wood and mount it above the garage door because the garage door slopes in, and that'll help block that trajectory of that coat hanger to do that. This was really popular a few years ago. It seems to have waned in popularity for whatever reason. Some people kind of got, what's that?
Too much work for them.
Too much work. Yeah. Now they're using tech instead. We'll talk about that in a second. But keep that in mind is that cord can be just the perfect way to get into your house because most people don't lock their door between their garage and their house when they leave. Okay? Now somebody said, what'd you think?
Me?
Yeah.
Cynthia.
Cynthia. So Cynthia said too much work and she's right. They are now, if you're not aware of this, they're stealing your garage door code. Okay? They're also stealing your car key code. Are you familiar with this? Okay? So you can buy for almost nothing online a little device that will steal garage door codes. Okay? Now there's a thing where a lady will walk through a parking lot and she will walk close to another person getting out of the car and the lady who's walking has a purse and that thing sits there and constantly scans for the code, the algorithm that is encrypted that's going from your car key to the car. Okay? So they are able to steal that unique spot in that algorithm, okay? And then they have the code to unlock your car.
Can you override that by manually locking your doors?
That's what I was gonna ask.
The car key code?
I suppose you could, because when they steal it, it has to be transmitting.
If
But
it's
Jamie
one of those
shaking
new
his head.
fobs, where if you're near your car, if you're in your car, it will start when you push the button. There's really nothing you can do about that. They can read that transmission at any time. But what you just asked, in terms of locking the car, yeah, if they don't push the button on their key, then there's no data to intercept.
That's what I heard, to use, to lock it from inside the door, and that's what I do. I don't use my fob to lock my cars.
Right, that's what I always did. I used the little button on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind, that as beautiful as tech is, it can also easily be stolen as well. Now there are unique things. What's up?
Your garage door open.
Man, what'd you say?
When they get into your car, then they get your garage door open.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that be very careful, like if you are, it's very easy to find your home these days with tech, okay? So leaving your garage door opener in your car when you park at the mall or at the grocery store or whatever, it's not very hard to look at your registration and find out your address, okay? So take your garage door opener, put it in your purse, put it in your back pocket, whatever. That's a simple way to keep them from breaking into your car, stealing your garage door opener. And here's the thing, if they have the code to unlock your car or you left your car unlocked, a lot of states won't even call it breaking and entering, okay? Because they entered your car legally, they didn't break into it. Okay.
Same goes for you live in an apartment that has gated parking. My daughter's car, that's how it was stolen, because she had garage, well, not, the gate opener in her visor. They had already climbed into the area, which is not that hard usually.
Yeah.
They got her car out through her.
That's
They
pretty,
had a key that, they were looking for that type of car.
yeah,
There's a key on each side of the coast.
yeah. If it's a popular car, you know, certain Hondas are real popular.
Well, she had a pit on it, and they were,
They stole a Pinto? I think the first time ever.
We needed parts.
Here's another thing where you can become friends with your local police department is to ask them to come and do an exterior and an interior home security assessment, okay? So have them walk around your property, both inside and outside, and ask them to give you some feedback on what you can be doing better from a security standpoint, okay? A lot of departments will do this as a service, as part of supporting the community and stuff like that, okay? All right. Yes, ma'am.
beware of dog signs.
Oh, yes, and we're going to be talking about beware of dog sign and beware of snake sign, too. Here's another thing. You all may have heard of this, and maybe some haven't. There's a technology called if this, then that. IFTTT, okay? It's basically shorthand to get devices to talk to one another, okay? It's pretty easy to use. And you can make it set up such that if this, then that will communicate between your house and your neighbor's house to let them know that something is awry, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because there's a lot of different ways to do that. But if that's something like if you have good relationships with your neighbors, it may be something that you want to explore further, okay? If there's a lot of techie people in here, so they probably can help you with that. I'll be happy to talk about it with you all. just so we don't get too far into the weeds with the time that we have remaining. If that's of interest to you, you can make it so if you're on vacation and something happens at your house, it will let you know. Okay. Since somebody mentioned beware of dog, we'll talk about that one now. Was that you?
Yep.
Okay. So I found out something really funny and fascinating. All right, we have the beware of dog sign in the United States. Okay. There's a lot of other guard animals throughout the world that people use. Donkeys. Apparently incredibly good at protecting themselves, and they look after things. They're great at front hooves, back hooves, and they like to bite too. Okay? I was petting a donkey earlier today, and I was considering that. I was like, be cool, man, be cool. Okay? Llamas, alpacas, okay? Also good watch critters. Ducks, geese.
Yes.
We've met your watch geese. Here's one that's pretty fascinating that covers a lot of different pieces, and if you have the land to support them, they're pretty amazing creatures. We actually have some that live near us. Guinea fowl, okay? Here's why guinea fowl are so amazing, all right? Not only are they constantly going after pests in the grass, they will form a line like shoulder to shoulder and go after a snake, like a mongoose, okay? They also will let you know when somebody's around too, and they're pretty kind of keep to themselves birds. They don't need a lot of care like chickens do, okay? So you guys can look at that and research it more, but they are pretty fascinating birds that they can do all that. But here's, this is funny. So there was a zoo that kept having animal thefts happen at the zoo. People were breaking in and stealing animals.
For cards.
They made one change. They took a king cobra and let it loose in the zoo. And then they did a press release. F's flat. Now here's the thing. I know that we don't have king cobras. Maybe some of you do. Who knows? I don't know. But here's the thing is in a lot of other countries, people will put snakes out because of the fact that just the thought of a snake freaks out a lot of thieves, okay? That's up to you whether you want to count on that or not, whether you want. I mean, some do like boas and pythons because they're not poisonous. Some people do poisonous snakes. Here's another one. Drug dealers use alligators, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for alligators, but if you're looking for unique guard animals, they found I think his name was Mr. Teeth. He was a 4-foot-long alligator, and he was guarding like 600 grand in drugs, okay? And several other stories like that. But yes, a beware of snake sign will freak out a lot of people, as long as will a beware of dog sign as well. Here's another one, and this is good for, sir.
And I've heard that beware of dog sign, if you have a post that somebody comes in and gets tore up, you're liable.
Yes.
If you have a dog. Because
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what I've heard.
Any people in here that are legal-minded, Dave? Or do you want to comment on
I've
that?
heard the same thing and read about it in several places, but they switched to dog on premises. That way it doesn't describe the dog as aggressive.
There you go. Snake on premises, if you could find out. Thank you. That's a good point. Is beware of what your signs say, sir.
The best way to put a sign out there for your snake, okay, to make it believable,
Yeah.
is you say, beware of snake, not responsible. That's the sign you want to put out there. Don't just put a sign on the side of your house that says beware of snake.
Yeah.
The reason being, because beware of snake doesn't, that's diddly squat.
Yeah.
But when you put down there not responsible, they're saying, wait a minute here, hold on.
Yeah.
There's something in here, and I'm not going in that house.
Dangerous young whiz.
Jordan.
Just food for thought with you're talking about the liability issue, right? So in South Dakota, we have actually something called the Castle Doctrine that was actually established, actually when Scott Craig was in. But it actually pertains to the curtilage of your area, right? Some states, it's actually the actual threshold of the door. In South Dakota, it's basically whatever fenced-in area you have, that's where you enter the premises. And if somebody's committing a crime because of the Castle Doctrine, you're not liable if they get injured in the actual action of committing a crime. Now, where you do end up with liability is basically if you have a small child that's over a grandkid, whatever, and you have a gator in your backyard, now you have issues with premise liability, whether or not you provided a safe environment to your guest, and you're liable at that point. Just to clarify.
Everybody understand what Jordan said?
So if you have somebody on your property that's breaking in or anything and you hurt them, you're not liable?
Drag them in the house.
No,
The question from the front is, if somebody's breaking into your house, you're not liable if they get hurt. Jordan?
Yeah, not in South Dakota.
Not South Dakota.
Other states you can be liable, but not in South Dakota.
So just kind of keeping things moving because we've got about 20 minutes, give or take, left. Here's one that is applicable not only from the standpoint of kind of looking after yourself, but if you struggle with walking or you've had a recent fall or something, this is a genius idea, okay? Keep your car keys with you at all times, okay? The reason why is if someone breaks in your house, what a great way to alert by pressing the panic button, okay? Every once in a while, I will do a senior home safety assessment with having a background in physical therapy where I'll go into someone's house and say, hey, here's some strategies to make your home safer from falls and stuff like that. Just talked with a friend of mine and her dad, this just happened this past winter, he fell and he was outside for several hours. He's fine, okay? If he would have those car keys, they didn't know he was on the ground. They couldn't see him. They looked out the window like, where's dad, okay? He was on the other side of the car. If he would have had the car keys, somebody would have gone outside and said, hey, and he was fine, no big deal. They were able to help him up and everything. But think about that, not only from the standpoint of security for someone breaks in, but if you feel a little bit unstable on your feet, you feel like there's a fall or something, if you fall inside your house and you can't get to a phone or something like that, but you have your car keys, and you just keep laying on that panic button, eventually someone's going to come and find you. Okay.
Is it safe to say even with that, like somebody breaks in and comes to attack you, it's also you can, if you're an older person, you may not have a lot of strength, you can put your keys in between your fingers and use that as like a stabbing weapon.
Keys are generally a pretty decent weapon if that's all you have on you. And great point, Philip. And there's even things you can get on your keychain, especially like ladies, if you are not a puncher, they have these things that if you squeeze it, there's these little claws that come out. They're called cat claws. You can swipe at them, and from what the videos show, they look like they hurt pretty bad. I wouldn't want to have them test them on me. But so here's the thing: not only should you lock up all your implements like ladders and stuff, like don't leave them outside your house. That's a great way to get people to come in your house is leave your ladders out. Okay. So not only lock them up, but paint everything that you own a certain color. Okay. So like all my tools have like the color of Kylie Marie's hat on. Okay. Lindsay and I really like that kind of turquoisey, robin's egg blue color. So all my tools, the handles are blue. And here's why that's important is because thieves do not like to try to unload things that are easily identifiable. Okay? So seriously consider that. If you've got some garden implements and stuff, put a band of color around them with spray paint. It's really hard to get off on a lot of implements and stuff. And it keeps them from trying to unload them. They will go to another house in some instances because of that. Now here's an interesting thing I want you all to seriously consider. There's two strategies here. The first one is that after you look at this sheet and you've gone through all the different things that you want to add to your home, consider test run burglarizing yourself. Okay, don't report to the police or anything like that. Okay, I want to hear about a whole bunch of calls over the scanner and Bill and Joan are like, man, the scanners were full of calls. But seriously, like after you've done a lot of these strategies, then take several trips around your house inside and outside and see what you've missed. I would even take it a step further. If you have a friend or a family member or a neighbor that lives close by, is invite them to take a look at this and then ask them to schedule burglarize your house, and get it from a new set of eyes because it's just like wearing socks, okay? When you put a pair of socks on, you may feel them for a few seconds after you put them on, but largely after about 30 seconds, we forget we have socks on. That's how we view our homes, too. You live in your home, you can walk through it effortlessly, you don't think about anything, and it's only when a piece of furniture moves and you stub your foot on it, does it really start to stand out that something has changed, right? Okay? So that's why it's good to have a family member, a friend, a neighbor, somebody to come over and mock burglarize your house as well, so you can get a second set of eyes on it. Okay? Any questions for us? We have lots more to cover, but I want to stop there if there's any questions so far.
What about home systems?
Yeah.
Do you recommend one above another?
Yeah, well, I will give you some, let me get to that section here. No, you're good. All right. So, remind me of the name again, I'm so sorry. Sandy asked the question about home security systems and different brands and if one's better than another. I'm just going to give you some basic strategies on that because you can really get lost in the weeds as far as security systems go for home, okay? If you want to keep things real basic, you can go to like Sam's Club. They sell security systems there. They're generally pretty high quality security systems. You have to put them up yourselves, okay? If you want to go super low tech, just buy yourself some game cameras, okay? If you want to go even lower tech but a super cool hack, take all your old cell phones and position them in areas of your house, and you can use those cell phones as cameras, okay? There are apps that will do this for you that are free of charge, okay? So all those cell phones that are sitting in your drawer, you can buy little stands for them, you can position them, okay? And most of those apps have it set up so that you can have the screen off so it doesn't look like it's recording anything, okay? So keep that in mind. That's a really super cheap. You could ask friends and be like, hey, do you have any old camera phones that you want to get rid of? I like to use them for security cameras, and most people, those are just sitting in drawers at their house right now because they don't know what to do with them. Okay, so that's low tech. Now, if you want like an actual security system, from the standpoint of brands, Vivint, from a professional security system, is rated as amongst the best. Vivint, V-I-V-I-N-T. Okay.
We have one of those in our home, and I'd be
Okay.
happy to talk to anybody about it.
So-
I wouldn't do without it.
So Bill Clayton, if you have questions, he may be able to tell you a little bit more, along with his lovely wife.
How do you spell it?
V-I-V-I-N-T, Vivint.
Oh, I see.
And Katie, you have one too, is that right? Yeah. So if you're looking for a professional grade security system, that is rated amongst the best across multiple websites, okay? If you're looking for, kind of an advanced DIY, then the Ring security system is a DIY one that's a high quality one that you can do yourself, okay? And if you're looking for kind of a basic DIY, Simply Safe, which I can attest to is a very easy one to put in. It really takes just minutes to set it all up. And they've got a pretty good customer service team that will help you if you're struggling with it.
Especially if your cat sets off your alarm on Sundays in church.
Chasing a spider.
Yeah, they work on Sundays between 10 and 11 or something.
Ask Joan how she knows. So the last one is if you're looking for a good basic DIY, is Simply Safe. You will see their commercials everywhere. They're big on advertising, but they also have good ratings, and it's a very simple system to put into place. All right, so we're going to keep moving on because there's so much good stuff to cover. I thought about doing this like Battleship because it's on a spreadsheet, so you guys can call it like C19, and then I would just tell you the strategy.
There you go.
All right. It's a good bite. All right, this is an interesting one, and this actually comes out of the South, but it really works anywhere. This is kind of more for inside your home, okay? Now with that in mind, this can be applied to either side of the glass depending on what brand you get, okay? Put hurricane film on your windows, all right? Now here's why. If the thief is trying to break in and they throw something that shatters the glass, they still have to go through the hurricane film, which is designed to withstand the glass flying and breaking, okay? So keep that in mind that you can get hurricane film for a relatively low cost. It's just like applying window tint. It's even easier on flat glass, okay? You can either, I think you can order it cut to fit, or you just cut it to fit yourself. But you put it on and then you caulk around it so that it's stuck to the sash on the window. And then if a thief throws a rock at your window to try and break it, it will just collapse on itself, but it's still siliconed around, so the chances of them getting in go down. They also now have to navigate broken glass much more effectively. It's more effective for you, bad for them, because they have this glass that they either have to cut out or push it in or whatever. Okay, so hurricane film is pretty cool. So much good stuff on here, you guys.
Can I add something to that?
Yes, sir.
There is a company in town that does that, and they do a great job. It's tinted, and the tinting actually acts as a one-way tint.
Privacy.
So that's true. And we put that in our house, and I love it. It operates on the principle of light differential, so as long as it's brighter outside than it is inside, they can't see inside your house.
Everybody hear what he said? What's the name of that company?
Tinted?
So while he's looking up the name of the company he's talking about, there's a company in town that will come put a tinted variety on your windows, and it works off light differential. So right now, it's brighter inside than it is outside. So they would be able to see it. But during the daytime, which is when most burglaries happen, if you guys were here for the earlier part of the segment, they won't be able to see inside because it's brighter outside, and so they can't see in because the tint prevents that from happening.
It's Rapid Window Tinting is who we did.
Rapid window tinting. So thank you for that.
593-1292.
Thank you for that. Here's another one. If you own a two-story house, maybe consider not opening the first-story windows. Okay? Open the windows on the second story. Keep your ladders locked up so they can't crawl through those. Weapons. We talked. Dave did such a good job on that presentation, you guys. It was so
Yes, he did.
obviously, we talked about guns. Crossbows make great weapons. My dad told me about a guy when he was young. A guy broke into his house, he shot him with a crossbow and killed him. Okay? They're very effective. I wouldn't want to go in that guy's house unannounced. Some of you that are more observant notice that I carry around weapons at all times. Lindsay calls this one my butt knife. I didn't make this up. Okay? I made up the placement of it because nobody expects it to be back there. Now Taylor gets a gold star because he was one of the first ones in church to figure out that I even carry it. Okay? But I'm going to put it in and I'm going to show you where I carry it. It's a great place because most people don't expect it. Most people generally carry knives like here. They have them on like a little thing that sits on their belt or something like that. I carry a knife back here. Okay? And when my shirt's down, nobody ever knows. Right? It's a great way to kind of carry a knife on you and people don't expect it. So like if somebody had me, I would still hopefully be able to reach back there and get this out. This is just a regular box cutter, but you can do a lot of damage with it. Okay. Here's another one that generally will help you fly underneath the radar. What is this? Carabiner. Rock climbing carabiner. Okay? Silver knuckles, as Lindsay likes to call them. She comes up with all the cute names for things. But here's the thing, even if you're not a good puncher, you only have to land a couple of these before people will rethink attacking you, unless they're strung out on drugs. Okay? This is called a carabiner. You can get these at any rock climbing store. You can also get them at Lowe's, but I wouldn't recommend those as much because they're not really rated for duty in a lot of cases. So don't get the ones that look cute, get the real deal. Okay?
And then you paint him a color of your own so that you know that that one is
Right.
yours.
If
Right,
they
like the
take it.
turquoise on your tools.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to paint this turquoise if
I'm
somebody
telling
steals
you,
on that.
right? I was paying attention.
Here's some other things. Consider installing a second deadbolt. All right? There's no harm in that, you guys. You got one up here, install one down here, get them keyed the same so you don't have to manage other keys. But consider also up-armoring your door. If you have a wooden door, replace it with a metal door. If you have a metal door, you may consider getting a reinforcement panel that slides over the lock sets, okay? And that's one of the weakest areas of the door. They sell these on Amazon, okay? Consider getting a deadbolt block. It's a little bracket that mounts on the backside of your deadbolt so that people can't turn the deadbolt. Okay? Even if they steal your key, they can't turn the deadbolt once that's engaged. Okay? Here's another one. All your hinges and all of your strike plates for your locks. Take out at least one screw, preferably at least 2 screws in each hinge, okay? And both screws in the strike plates for your deadbolt and also for your handle set. Replace those with 3-inch deck screws, okay? 3-inch deck screws. This is a simple fix, you guys. It's a great way to kind of up-armor your doors, okay? Doors are inherently easy to break into, and locks only keep honest people out. Somebody told me that one time. I thought that was such a great saying. Locks only keep honest people out. But imagine if you had 2 deadbolts, and imagine if you had up-armored plating, or you had a steel door, or both, and then you've got 3-inch deck screws in the hinges, and you've got 3-inch deck screws in the strike plates. All of a sudden, you have a little bit more time, actually probably a lot more time, unless they're a really big person. There's also a veteran-owned company that was on Shark Tank. This is so funny. So this veteran, he invents this little thing that it sits behind your door, and like, have you all ever seen those automatic things that come up in parking lots that keep you from going the opposite way, okay, or for security purposes? Well, he basically took that concept and he made it so it can go behind your door, and it goes across the bottom and it easily mounts and stuff like this. So this guy's like, all right, I gotta demonstrate. He's got Mark Cuban, he's got all these guys on Shark Tank, and he's running up and he's doing flying kicks sideways like this and stuff. And he like falls down like 3 or 4 times. So it was like a great, like, this is how a door will stay, solid and stuff with this little device and stuff. But It was so funny because he's doing drop kicks and flying kicks and everything else. It was just ridiculous. So, great way to sell. No Amazon inside delivery. No Roombas.
No rules.
Amazon just bought Roomba.
Yep.
Okay? What a great way for them to map out the interior of your house with a Roomba.
Yep.
A Roomba is an automatic vacuum cleaner that goes. Okay? Looks like a little squatty trash can. It's only about a few inches tall and it's round. Okay? So, Mike.
These are not your father's Roombas.
Right.
These new Roombas, they have cameras on them. They are very intelligent. They map every square inch of your house. They know the difference between a chair and a sofa and a TV and a doorway and a cat.
Yep.
And they memorize every item that touches the floor in your house. And this is, he's right, it is recent, but yeah.
This was this
Amazon
week.
just bought the rights to all the data in your new Roomba.
Wow.
Go Bezos. Yep.
Yeah.
I want to add to that. No smart locks, no Alexa, no Google Nest, no Google Dots, okay? If you want to have your mind blown, go on YouTube and just look up hacked Google Nest or hacked Google Dot or hacked Amazon Alexa. There's one of a kid's crib and they hacked it and it's like this, I see you.
Yep.
Yeah, does that not just send your chills up your spine? That's for real. I'm not making any of this up, you guys. So get this crap out of your house, and excuse my French, okay? But these things are easily hacked, and they are constantly surveilling you, okay? Know how to walk through your home in the dark. If you can't do that, start practicing, okay? It's a tremendous advantage to be able to walk through your home in the dark if someone breaks in, okay? Because they don't know what's going on in the dark, all right? Make a decoy jewelry valuable box with junk in it, like costume jewelry, a few bucks, a few important looking papers, and put that somewhere where it's easier to find, okay? Crooks that are in a hurry, they will go and grab that and think that they got off with the mother load, okay? And they will just get away with a few bucks and a bunch of crap, okay?
Can you put razors in that?
I guess you could, I don't see why not.
Yes.
And a cobra. I like the way you think. All right, passwords. We're going to talk about, we're getting kind of close to the end. Scott, can I have 10 more minutes? Is that okay? Awesome, thank you. And do you all mind if I? 10 more minutes? Awesome, thank you. Thank you for the extra time and for your patience this evening. I really appreciate it.
Are you gonna get to smart TVs?
Well, yeah, that goes along with like just the general like smart devices. Like if your TV, if you're talking to it, it's listening to you.
But what about, can you like cover the camera? Do they have the camera in?
Yeah, so
You can cover
great
the camera, but
question,
you can't
great
cover the
question.
microphone.
If you have cameras, put tape over it, okay? If you're not using that camera, put tape over it. There are so many instances right now of cameras being hacked and watching people, okay? And this is happening all the time. If you have the Xbox Connect, if you have smart TVs, if you have webcams on your computers, which most people do nowadays, like I almost brought Lindsay's computer because we put a piece of painter's tape across the entire top part of the screen, and so that way it'll stay put. They also sell a little thing that's just like a couple bucks. It's like a little slider with a piece of tape on, double stick tape on the back of it. You just stick that on there, you can just slide it over if you don't want it to look so country. We don't mind being country. So, passwords. Let's talk about passwords real quick, okay? This comes from the Survival Show podcast. They had, and this is a great podcast if you guys don't know about it. It's two guys that are really good at like self-reliance and stuff like that. They've taught a lot of classes, have a lot of background. One's ex-military, one's just a good old Kentucky boy. But they had an expert on about data privacy, data safety, and stuff like that. Here's two really important things. Whenever a new update comes for your phone, your web browser, laptop, whatever, wait 10 days before you install it, okay? I see some heads like, what are you talking about? Some of you may not have never updated anything, okay? But here's the thing, this guy was talking about, he's like, wait 10 days, and here's why, it's because that's when all the bugs are is in the first 10 days, and they fix those things. That also makes it easier to hack it in the first 10 days too. He also talks about keychains, password keychains. A keychain is Apple's version of this, but they're really just password keepers. And what it is it's like It's like this thing, like a key ring, and let's say, you have to log in via this right here, okay? But each one of these keys represents a password, and that little device has all your passwords in there, and then it can send it to the different website that you need it to, so you don't have to remember it all, okay? And he said that that's really best practice these days, and that's straight from a guy who does like top level data security, and I think he said he was in a hospital or something like that, I can't remember. So their security protocols are super high in
I
hospitals.
always wondered if that was safe or not. And it's pretty safe to do that?
That's what he said, because the encryption is so high.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What was the name of that website?
Well, just look up like Password Keeper or Password Keychain. There's
Password
multiple
Vault.
brands. Apple has one built in, it's called Keychain,
Yeah.
okay? But there are ones for Windows-based computers as well. So just keep that in mind, that there's several different versions out there. We talked about up-armoring. Back to your door real quick, front door. Consider a storm door. It's a great way to add a little extra security, make sure it's locked, okay? Nowadays, you don't have to look like you're in jail if you want bars over your windows. They have a lot of ornate window patterns for the bars that you can put over your windows. Things are really beautiful. So if you want bars over your windows, and they make it so obviously you can leave from the inside, but those are available. They come at a cost though. Here's another thing about smart devices, you guys. Refrigerators. This is so funny. I'm working on this right before I come tonight, and I look at the Wi-Fi. They list the Wi-Fi networks. Washer, dryer. Okay. Refrigerators, washers, dryers, printers, they are all super easy ways to hack your Wi-Fi, okay? Generally the passwords are like 5 ones or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. So these people, an average hacker needs 10 minutes to get 100,000 passwords. 10 minutes, an average hacker, okay? So if that doesn't blow your mind how easy it is, and now we have these smart devices that have very low security protocols, it's a great way to kind of backdoor into your network, and they can steal all kinds of data from your home, which then they can loot your bank accounts and everything else. Okay.
Or the computers they're sending home with the kids from school.
Okay, there you go. That's one that I didn't have on here. So if you have kids and they're bringing home computers, keep that in mind. Here's the thing that's kind of a little, some of you may know, some of what we talk about regularly in the Monday night group is that if you would like to be free of your devices always listening to you, and if you don't know this, your phones, your computers, they're always listening to you. When you turn them off, many of them, what, Tony?
Always.
Always listening to you. Here's the thing, if you don't know this, watch the movie Snowden, okay? It's about Edward Snowden. It's a great movie, okay? It will blow your mind of what your devices are doing, and you have no idea, okay?
What about flip phones?
Lower technology, Jordan, do you have thoughts on that? You're probably the tech expert. What about a flip phone?
No, so, being a former delinquent with my mom sitting here, she knows that I'm PCI showed up, so, yeah, you got a flip phone, I could get a Motorola StarTAC, and if you're calling on that, I can intercept your calls in probably 30, 40 minutes.
There you go.
And then I can still
Assume listening to you all the time.
Jordan, the question is, are the flip phones listening like the smartphones are?
No, they don't have the same storage capacity, but I mean, depending on what end of security you're talking about.
So less likely than a smart device. But here's the thing, guys, like, if you want to be free of this, put your phone in the microwave, don't turn it on. I have this like sinking feeling, like we have a big Tupperware thing that we have like, I have a battery charger in there for like tools, like 18-volt tools. I have battery packs and a charger to charge those batteries, plus the radios, the Baofeng radios. And we have 2 of those radios in the microwave. We have 1 outside. I got this sinking feeling the other day, and excuse me, I was like, and I was like, I thought I turned on the microwave with the stuff in there. And luckily, I pulled it out and put the water in to make the coffee. But if you ever want a heart attack, think about all your devices in the microwave that you put in there. Jordan, go ahead.
So with the microwave, you're trying to make a makeshift Faraday cage, right?
Yeah.
So they sell those pretty cheap, just as a pro tip.
So Jordan brought up a good point, and that's kind of the thing that we're going to talk about is that you can buy a Faraday cage, but a Faraday cage is basically like a transmission interrupter of frequencies that are traveling across the air. Now, if you want to test this to make sure it works, put one phone in the microwave. Again, don't turn it on. Take your other phone and call it. And if it won't connect, that means the Faraday cage is working. Mike Solhoff shared that microwaves need to be plugged in to be a Faraday cage. If they're not plugged in, they don't serve that purpose.
Where do you get them? I'm not sure what they call the wallets though too, but get the wallets
Yeah.
that have the protection.
That's for RFID. So they have wallets that will protect from people scanning your different chips and things in your wallet. And those are generally for RFID frequencies. Dave, did you have something to say?
Your Faraday cage has to be grounded. It has to-
Grounded.
Yeah, otherwise it's useless.
If it's not grounded, is what Dave said, it's useless. Okay.
Three-prong plug.
What?
Three-prong plug.
Three-prong plug, thank you for,
That's hard to say.
It's better than we said three-prong plug. VPNs. Okay, this one kind of really made the gentleman in the men's group kind of go, whoa, okay? A lot of us in here put a lot of stock in VPNs. I can tell you that mostly they're hogwash, okay? As it states, and this is from a kid that started at 4 years old, and he is like a supercomputer. That's what his brain is, okay? And he's doing this on YouTube. He does a 14-minute video if you want to watch it, and he talks about how VPNs are really suspect, okay? What he's saying is about VPNs is for 100 of the top VPNs, they're owned by 23 companies, and of those, or they're owned by 23 entities. Of those entities, 6 of those VPNs are owned by China.
Please say what a VPN is.
Yeah.
Virtual private network. Okay, and what that means is that it's like a theoretically secret way for you to browse the internet and not have people looking at what you're browsing at. Okay, so supposedly it's encrypted, and it basically, and Jordan's going to say something, but I'll just explain a little bit before he does. It basically, if this is a piece of data, it puts it in an envelope and then sends it out, and it's covered so you can't see what's in the envelope. That's kind of how it works. Okay, now here's the thing. The way that the different pieces of technology are set up, like this piece of technology here can see some of the data, and this piece can see some more of the data, but it's really not all that useful when you factor in the types of companies that own these things. And also too, if you have Wi-Fi or you have Bluetooth, there's all kinds of algorithms that are working in the background that are targeting and pinpointing you via Wi-Fi and via Bluetooth. So even if you have a VPN, it's not this secret device. And as this video, this kid who is incredibly smart, he said that it was government that came up with this. And what a great way to have you pay for something that they can either subpoena, okay, or they can just forcefully say, I want to see this. And they can do that pretty easily. Jordan, you were going to say something.
So you're talking about packet encapsulation?
Yes, thank you.
Right, so one of the things a lot of people don't think about is, so there's now algorithms that you can write, especially on the back end of a server, using like a shell. But you can actually intercept some of those packets using packet sniffing and analyze that. So the packets that are not encapsulated on the VPN, especially if you're trying to use it over a cell phone, you're still transmitting data that is not encapsulated via the VPN, and after analyzing that, you can then basically interpolate those, and then you have the full string.
There you go.
And that kid's right, like you're talking about a 30, 40-minute process if you're getting a good connection and intercepting. So then you can do a man in the middle.
Now, they also say, and sorry, I'm kind of jumping somewhere else maybe, but DuckDuckGo, is that more secure than?
No.
DuckDuckGo, it's kind of hit or miss from what I've read. What do you think, Jordan? Better than Google.
I just don't know.
What's that?
I heard you Google bought DuckDuckGo.
They did.
Oh, well, then DuckDuckGo is no longer secure.
So there you go.
So just to share.
What about video games? Like some of the kids play video games and talk with people all over the world?
So here's the thing. If you all are not familiar with this, if you have kids that are playing video games, be very careful about this, okay? There is a new thing. When you give kids too much free time, they come up with nefarious ways to use it. And this is the new thing. It's called swatting, okay?
Oh.
They will call in to the local police department and say, this kid's going to kill somebody, and they know where the kid is because they're playing video games and they're all linked together, and then the police show up in tack gear at this person's house.
Wow.
I think there's been at least one episode where a kid was killed because of this, okay? So if you need to warn your kids about this if they're playing video games. This is a real thing, and I can't remember the guy's name. He's the bald guy who's a conservative, and he wears a beanie a lot of times. I can't think of his name. He's been swatted like 2 times in a week.
Tim Pool.
Tim Pool, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. So just to be mindful of everybody's time, I'm going to share 3 more quick things. I will let y'all free, and I really appreciate everybody's participation and support tonight. But there will be a QR code. So we haven't even scratched the surface of everything that's on this document, okay? So if you want more stuff, by all means, come up here and get the QR code. Here's some other unique things, okay? If you are tech savvy, you can put down pressure plates like they have at the grocery store. They used to have where you step on it, okay? And it will tell you when people are walking on your property. It's a great way to, kind of like when you drive up to the green or the light and it turns green. It sees your car there because you have pressure on the ground. My dad did this when I was a kid because when I was a kid at 2 years old, you couldn't keep me in a crib, okay? So I would get out in the middle of the night like I was a little bandit running around the house, okay? And they're like, he's gonna hurt himself. So my dad, who's a super smart guy, he takes one of those pressure plates like they had at the grocery store and he wires it up to a sensor or up to a bell in their room. So I would step on it, like, I would be like on the crib like this and my dad would come and I'd be like, look at him like, how did you get here? Like thinking, how does he know? And I didn't know that the pressure plate, he put it under the carpet, okay? There's some amazing people with this type of knowledge, but there are so many ways to do this. Motion activated cameras. If you have a large piece of property, drones, okay? And here's the final thing, which I think is really kind of a cool way. It's very low tech, okay? If you have valuable stuff that you want to protect, the safe is great, okay? But if you really want to make it so nobody's going to check, okay, go bury stuff that's important underneath a pile of manure or something like that. You laugh, you laugh. What group do you know that's going to go tunnelling under a pile of manure or an animal carcass or something like that? People don't look for those things. And I know that may gross some of you out, but if that's what you want to do to protect your stuff, that's a great way to do it. People aren't going to look for it. Any questions? And thank you again, everybody. I really appreciate it.
We have those old glass sliding doors, and we just put a stick in it at the bottom. What do you recommend?
So there's a couple different things you can do with glass doors. Sticks, great, okay? Another option is to actually have a bar that goes midway up the door that you can screw into place and that comes out and goes into a little holder, okay? Another option still is they actually have a little thing at the bottom of the glass door that you mount, and it has a little thing that goes into a plate, and it's like a little finger, so it can't be slid, okay? So any of those, they will be able, if it's a looser fitting one, be able to tilt it back. You're still going to have to work in it. I would recommend hurricane film for that for sure, because of the fact that it's very easy to get through a glass door if you just throw a brick through it.
I wish they'd be like I lived door to pull the house down, not with but, you know that carpet strip stuff?
Texture.
That would always go down when I left it open.
There you go.
I had to remember them, I always had to remember.
Oh, I bet you did. So the lady was saying when she would leave her patio, her slide patio door open, she would put down tack strip, which is the stuff they put carpet down with, which is like wooden cactus.
Oh,
Okay?
it
It
is,
was awful. Okay?
yes.
So it's a very ingenious. Give it to people to think through these things, they'll come up with really ingenious ideas. Right here.
I was just gonna say, in some of the stuff that I've looked at and been kind of trained on stuff, a really easy way for you to help yourself in your home that's not too invasive, but it can help you. The things you do in your house are to buy you time, a lot of them. So one thing is, get yourself a flashlight that's got 800 to 1,000 or more lumens in it. Somebody comes in your bedroom or comes in your house, and you have that flashlight, you hit them in the eyes, you just change their channel big time. You haven't hurt them, but they can't see anything in your direction. So if you need that time to brandish your weapon, make a phone call, whatever, they cannot do anything if your house is dark and they got 1,000 lumens of light in their eyes. It's a cheap way to help yourself out. Sometimes that'll work pretty good for you.
It's a really good suggestion. One, the Survival Show podcast talked about that. One thing, if you are going to do the flashlight method, is close your eyes almost completely if you're going to turn the flashlight on, because if you're sensitive to light, it will blind both of you, okay? So just make sure, either throw some sunglasses on, or like squint as much as you can, turn the light on, and then slowly open your eyes, let your eyes adjust, because you can blind yourself.
Another thing that I have, and I got mine through the NRA store, and it's low tech, but it's really annoying and it will work. And again, it might change the channel, but it might buy you time. And that is, there's a little wedge that you can buy that has a battery on it, and it has the most annoying sound, like an alarm for a fire alarm or something. It'll be just really, really loud, really, really pungent. I mean, it just gets your ears. but it's just a wedge. So I keep one with me when we go traveling, and I put it in my hotel door. Just set it right down. Somebody gets that door open, anyway, that thing is going off, and there's nobody on that floor that's not gonna know something's going on. And that's just a biding time. That wakes me up and I say, something's wrong here, we're ready to roll.
There you go.
Yep.
Good suggestion. I heard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say something else along those lines that you can have by your bedside, even if you think somebody's breaking into the house, or if you hear something that you aren't quite sure, the electric ears, if you go shooting, the ones you put over your head, you know, they are very, very powerful, and so if you put those on and turn it up, you can hear things that, I mean, literally hear a mouse crawling across the floor, but it gives you your heightened senses with your ears, so you can hear things, glass breaking where a person is walking, etc., an advantage that you would have over them not having. So that's another good thing to potentially have by your bedside, along with the 8,000 lumen lamp.
Some of the earbuds will do that as well, like some of the higher, and before I get to you, Elaine, I think you'll have to do that.
Yeah, I live in a travel trailer from fifth wheel. And when I have friends come over and I open the front door, it just, you know, squeaks. And they always say, well, why don't you do some WD? You know. If I'm taking a nap.
Yes.
I hit that the day open the door. I know, and then that's their problem.
That's a low-cost alarm system, I like it. Yep.
When we get this timers, light timers, but don't just change your daylight savings time. Change it every 3 or 4 days. Because otherwise they start realizing, your lights go on the same time of day.
So Elaine was talking about timers, and if you scan this up here, not only want to talk about timers, which you can get random timers, but also they have TV simulators too that will project red, blue, and green light, and it'll flash like a TV, like someone's watching TV in the house. You can get those off Amazon, they're very cheap. Very good point about the timers. We ran out of time, but yes, absolutely timers. Yes.
I lived at the end of a cul-de-sac in Massachusetts, and so I knew in the middle of the night if anyone came into the cul-de-sac that wasn't supposed to be there, I had motion sensors set up so that when they tripped it, the light came on in my bedroom.
Yep. There you go. I saw a hand back here, Joe.
You didn't mention it before, but, or this particular thing didn't come up, but on a scale of, 1 to 10, how would you rate Beagles on stopping an intruder and, being able to attack someone and stop them from getting hurt?
So,
Beagles?
It's a joke.
Oh.
I was ready to launch into this explanation.
I have a beagle. And so
Does he roll over so
right?
they can hit his tummy?
Yeah.
So, Brenda.
I just had a really quick general comment just to tell people, I am a complete nerd and I don't watch TV. I listen to the Please Scanner, either the app on my phone or online with earbuds. I don't think people in this area understand the amount of crime that happens all day long in Rapid City. Listen for one day and you will be amazed. A lot of times at night, there are 4 officers on duty for a city of 75,000 people, and they've got assault calls backed up for hours. The criminals are, it's horrible. So you can get those apps for free. Just really do yourself a favor and realize what crime is going on around here.
Well, it's so true. 4 people for 75, 80,000 people, and people wonder why response times are 10 minutes. Well, when it's 1 police officer for every 20,000 people, give or take. Like, how do you get it all done in a night type of thing? If you scan the QR code, I'll get it to you.